little prayer, it'll all work out, right? Here we go. Here we go, everybody. That was my big face in the camera. Hopefully. All right. Woo! It's been a day, my friends. It has been a day today. Oh, and I have my screen run. Hang on. I'll be right back. All of you who are popping on early, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I've had some little tech things going on. What's new? I know that's usually part of my, you would think it was a routine for me, right? Like just tech issues. So, hey, everybody, I'm going to switch over here and look at comments real quick. We have Katie on with us tonight, Becky and Cheryl, and who else is Barb Carlson? Hi, Barb and Lynn. Thanks, everybody, for being here because it's a launch day. It's a launch day. Even my camera's kind of wonky, isn't it? Like, I think I've got weird things showing up on the screen. That's okay. I am so excited tonight. My caller sounded right. For launch day. So thanks for coming and being here. And, you know, what are we launching? We are launching, and they're live on the website now. Katie has some shopping lists and some download things, and Stephanie's done some really good work to really help you guys maximize the basic boxes, the 4-inch and the 1.5. Woo! Well, what I really need to do is take a deep breath because I have had a crazy, crazy day. Okay. The 1.5-inch boxes are here. The 4-inch boxes are here. We've already had the 3-inch boxes. I'm going to talk about all of them a little bit tonight, but I want to start with our good friend who we've all been waiting for to arrive. Chassity is here. So if you are someone who uses smaller ink pads, so what I've got in here is Tim Holtz, Ulta New, Diamond Press. The Chassity bag is the perfect way. Oh, what about the coupon code? You need the coupon code, right? Okay, so thanks for coming to live. Get something to write with. I'm going to give you a coupon code. I'm going to send out an email with it later, but since you're first here, you get to shop first with the coupon code. I'll have Katie put it in the feed also. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, make a comment because Katie is going to choose not one, but 2 winners tonight since it's a launch night. So 2 people are going to get a $25 gift certificate tonight. And the way you get in on that is by putting something in the comments. So ask a question. If you have a question, start it with a bunch of question marks. And then, or all caps, the word question. So it jumps out for Katie so that she can make a note and ask me. I do have Katie in my ear. I promise I will try to repeat the questions back. I'm not good at it, but I'm working on it. So the code, launch, LAUNCH, 1515. Right? Launch 15. You're going to save 15% on everything we're launching tonight. And it's only good through the week. So don't hesitate. Get what you need, but wait because I have some great things that are going to help you make great choices. So, okay, we're going to start with Chassity though. So she's available. Ulta New, Tim Holtz, Diamond Press. This is the bag for you. She's going to hold somewhere between, depending on how many ink pads you want to put in your finger room. She's going to hold somewhere between 20 and 25. Some people get 6 in here, 20 and 24 ink pads in the Chassity bag. So you are going to absolutely love her. She is the classic, right? Double zipper pull. If you bought the Flawed But Fabulous Chassity, it works the same way, except the boxes go the right direction. So now it's easy to put those Tim Holtz Ulta New Diamond Press inks into the Chassity bag. So you're absolutely going to love that. Okay, so that is Chassity. I have some other things I want to share with you really quickly. So somebody wrote in and asked about the 4-inch basic boxes in the Chassity bag. Could she put 2? This is letter A. This is the 3-inch letter A box, 2 in the Chassity bag. I wrote back and said, what are you putting in those? I want to know what you're trying to put in there with those 2 boxes, but they do fit. So for some reason you're trying to divide up your Chassity, that works. And then another thing, which I was like, I wonder if this will work. This is the D box, right? So this is the 4-inch tall D box. So if you wanted to add that in there, you pull out my creative connector. So you're Definitely going to need your creative connector tool for this. I got a connector stuck in there. If you wanted to add more division in there, you could take that D box and clip it in there to make even smaller sections. I'm not sure what she's trying to organize in there, but it does fit in the Kirsten bag. So if you want to take the Kirsten box out and create a different box configuration, the A box, 2 of those fit in there. And then of course you can put as many D's as you want. Okay. I am going to get less frenetic in a minute. I'm going to go through some things systematically, but we also got asked a while ago about powder puff inks and could they go in the creative case. I think this is the number 4. Why can't I remember? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I crammed 6 letter P basic boxes. So that's a 3-inch high basic box in here. And each of them will hold 6 powder puff inks, right? And I even kind of pushed it out. I put some other stuff in there to make sure that the top would flex enough so that you could actually put 6 in there. So if you're looking for powder puff ink, quick quotes, powder puff ink storage, 6 of the letter P boxes will fit inside one of the, and I'm just going to verify now, right, which one this is. So hang on a second, because 2 of them, 4 and 5, are, no, 3 and 4 are so close together. So this is the number 3. Yes. Okay. So the number 3 creative case is going to hold powder puff inks, and it's going to hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 6, 36 of them. All right. Okay. All right. So let's start with the 1.5-inch basic boxes. Stephanie Bernard went through a bunch of trouble work for me at the very last minute, because I came up with, I'm thinking about, as I'm using these, right, what's the best way for people to kind of figure out what is going to work in their space. And so what she did for me, for us, is she created these, and they're kind of hard to see, these templates, right? They are PDFs, so they are the actual size, length, and width of each of the boxes. And then it does say, it says the box name, the length and width of them, and then it says the height on there too, 1.5 in this case. So she created these so that you could download them, print them, cut them out, and then do your own layout of wherever you want to fit it in. So what I do need to tell you, let's see how good my overhead setup is here. So this is basic box L, which of course it's 15 inches long. So it's not going to fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So what she did was make 2 pieces, little dotted line, cut on the dotted line, take some tape or a tape runner, whatever you have handy, and then you can put the 2 pieces together and you will have the full size 15-inch, and there's some 12-inch ones as well. So it is all designed to work with 8.5 by 11 paper. That's a common size here. You can just cut them and glue them together or stick them together in the right size. And then you are going to be able to work with whatever space you want. And I think Katie's putting up links in the feed right now to all of them. So we did one for the 1.5s, the 3 inches, and the 4 inches. I say we, but what I really mean is Stephanie. And then so that you could actually design your space however you wanted. So this is just a regular mat, right? But the space on my shelf, I taped off with washi tape. Now you don't need to do that, right? Obviously, you can just use the things and measure, but it was a lot easier for me to work inside this space when I taped it off. And it was a good use of washi tape. And I want to share another little tip with you. Anytime I do something like this, I don't know if you can see it up close, but I take my washi tape at the end before I stick it down and I fold it over so the end isn't stuck down. And that way, when I'm ready to pull it up, the end is easy for me to grab and pull up. So there's your little pro tip if you're doing this, just by folding under that end so it won't stick all the way down. Makes it easy to pull it up. But since I have this grid, now I can take my basic box pieces. So I cut these pieces up here, right? I've got all my 1.5-inch pieces. I'm sorry, the light's not better for seeing that camera-wise. I had them all clipped together with my Creative Connector clip. Now, this happens to be the shelf size of the shelf in here, right? So you're thinking, oh, just a drawer or an open shelf, why do you need that? You can actually lay it out in the space. But for designing something to fit onto these shelves, I can't really lay it out in there and see what it looks like, right? So you can do it on the same thing. You might not want to empty your drawer out entirely while you're figuring out what boxes you needed or that type of thing. But it does make it easy to lay out and make that design to make the shape for whatever you need. So I can just add these boxes in and figure out, oh, how many do I need? Which way do I want them to go, right? They can go both directions, of course. So however you want to use them, maybe you have something big and you want to leave this space here, right? So you're going to see in a minute a picture of my heat tool. I clipped these, then I had this whole space here for my heat tool. Well, now I could put this box, this size box, 1, 2, 3 up there. So that's my next pro tip for you, right? I would print multiples of these and cut them out, because the chances are you're going to use multiples of a size, or you want to have multiples of a size, and then you don't have to move them around. Here's the other thing about that. Once you get it laid out in the pattern that you want, then you can take your phone and take a picture of it so you remember where all those boxes were, right? You can also use that grid pattern then if you have the boxes, you know, if you print multiples of these, then you can set things on them to make sure your dimensions are correct. So as an example, this is the G box, right? If I was thinking, oh, I'm going to use that for lunar paste in my drawer, I could actually put some lunar paste on that and know, okay, yeah, that's what's going to fit, and that's how many are going to fit there, right? So depending on what you're doing and what kinds of supplies you're using. Now this could be, that could be paper clips or scissors or rulers or tools in your toolbox. That's one of the great things about this. You know, my husband always thinks he's having these big epiphany moments when I make something and he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I could probably use that in my toolbox. I'm like, of course you can. So if you think about it, if you have a toolbox, a man in your life has a toolbox, your kids, whatever, and you pull it out, and my husband's is labeled, it's like screwdrivers, wrenches, but they're just piled in there. Well, now because he's only 1.5 inches tall, he can figure out which ones are going to fit in there and hold whichever tools to really kind of configure it so that everything kind of stays organized, and maybe even get a label on there about which tools which tools belong in there, so he knows what's missing. That'll be crazy. You know, for those of you who don't know Park, he has a very good sense of humor, and so, well, it sounds like I'm harassing him. Well, I am harassing him, but he's a very good sport about it. So using the grids that Stephanie made is a great way to do the layout of things. Now, I also gave Katie a link, which she's probably already put up, to the shopping list. So if you, as you're going through and deciding what you need, what you want, what you're going to use, if you print out that shopping list, it's all linked to the website, or you can take it in to your local store that carries to product, and it has a place for what you need and then what you purchase, so you can make sure that you're getting what you need and you're getting the right thing. So whether you carry it into your local store or go to another website or go to our website, you'll be able to check off the things that you need and yeah, get the right stuff. So, all right. So Katie, I know I've been already like blah, blah, blah on everybody. Do you have any questions already? So the question is, the Chassity bag that I was holding up, are those the Tim Holtz Distress inks? Yes, they are. So they are the regular size Tim Holtz Distress inks. They're the square ones. They're not the mini inks, obviously, but they are the square Tim Holtz Distress inks, and they fit perfectly in the Chassity bag. Okay, so we've got any other questions, Katie? Okay, so we've got the 1.5s. All of those are available. And then we've got, okay, and what I wanted to do, let's see how clever I am here. I wanted to show you guys because I was able to use them. So this is my silverware drawer before. And you can see in there that the actual silverware part is actually a silverware container by OXO. That actually it works pretty good. It's not ideal, but it works pretty good. But all the other stuff around the outside of it was kind of a mess. So I took everything out of there, and which of course let me get everything nice and neat and clean. And then I shifted the orientation of the silverware section, the regular silverware section, and I filled in with basic boxes around the outside. Now, these are the 1.5-inch boxes, and this is what it finished up looking like, right? So now, instead of all my service silverware kind of piled into the back, and I used to have a bunch of garbage bags stuffed in the front that kept the other containers that were in there for sliding around. It just made it really easy to segment off each section of the drawer. And you know what else was really great? When I was doing it, every drawer kind of turns into a junk drawer, right? You just constantly find things like this doesn't really belong in there. And so this was a great sort of cathartic exercise, not only to get everything neat and tidy in there and looking good, but I was also able to get rid of all the things that had sort of wandered into that drawer that weren't silverware or serviceware or wine openers, kind of the things that I know belong in that drawer. So those are all 1.5s in my kitchen drawer. Now, I've got tons of 1.5 images to show, or things to show you on the shelf that are crafty as well. And I'll pull those out in just a minute. Well, actually, maybe what I should do is talk about those now before I move on to the new 4-inch boxes, which I also use in the kitchen and I have used everywhere behind me. So I want you to look at what's happening here. And the biggest thing is there is no gap, right? So when you are using, you've heard me talk before, I have my little samples here. When you are using any other kind of container, no matter if it's big like this, medium size like this, or small like this, these almost always are angled, and that allows them to stack. So for shipping, it's a lot more efficient. They're not shipping air. But what it does do is leave this big space, I don't know if you can see it, between the two containers. So that's 1 inch of space for every 2 of these that I would have on the shelf. So if I was using something with a slanted edge, I would lose 1 inch of space. I think each of those are about 6 inches. So every 6 inches, I'd be losing 1 inch, right? So in 3 feet, I would have lost 6 inches, an entire container's worth of stuff. One of the beautiful things about basic boxes, and it doesn't matter what size they are, right? Little guys, medium, big guys, they just stack up right next to each other. So it makes it so simple and so easy to combine things and keep them on the shelf, easily labeled, easily recognizable, and in all the different sizes and shapes. The other thing I want you to remember or think about is that while I'm using this for storage and I have these things stored this way on the shelf, one of the really great things about basic boxes is the way that they come apart easily. So if I wanted to take something off the shelf, flowers, and I wanted to separate these and spread them out so they weren't taking up this much space, but maybe I wanted a straight row of them along the back. Maybe if you're doing diamond dots or quilling or something like that, you don't want to eat up this kind of space. You want to spread it across. The beautiful thing about them is that reusable creative connector means you can take them apart, spread them, and then reconnect them and put them back wherever you're storing them. So whether that's on a shelf or in a drawer, any place like that. It works great for that. So so we have all the 1.5s, and I guess I should start with, I should start with, I'm going to go in order of them. So the 1.5 inch boxes, they start with letter F, which is 3.5 inches by 12 inches. And when we're talking about letter F, we're talking about things like this size, right? So these are obviously picket fence pouncers, right? Again, really easy to just bring and set on your desktop when you're working with them. Take those lids off, put that aside, and use the pouncers there. Katie, did you have a question? I heard a little something, but I wasn't sure if it was. Okay. So, yeah, so that's the F size, right? And then the next, so it goes E, F, G is this long, narrow size, which you saw with the lunar paste. So something like this, right? Great in that. The lunar paste, perfect size for that. But also great for connecting together. So let's go overhead here for a sec. So you can see, right? I used my creative connector to make one big thing that was all equal size. So I had too much of this for just two of these. So I just added this first section on. Now I could get all the pearls, brushes, some, all the different things in there, easy peasy, and off it on the shelf, really easy as well. So another kind of pro tip, when you're doing this, the heavier the things that are loaded in there, the more clips you should use. So like with the flowers, they're very light. I have a lot of clips on them because it's fun, but I don't need as many clips. But with something heavier like these pods of pearls, you might want to go a few more creative connectors to hold those together if you're sliding them on and off a shelf or doing something like that, right? You've all seen my Stamps of Life brushes, right? That is two of the G boxes connected. And if you're using this type of brush, what I like about it is that I set them in here at kind of an angle, right? Hook the little edge over like that. And then when I'm using them, I can just drop them right back in, pull them out, drop them in. So I don't have to snap them in and they're still, right? I can just, now if I'm going to go somewhere with them, I'll snap them in, right? So now they don't come out. But while I'm using them on my workspace, I've got all of them sort of angled and accessible, and they just drop in and out of their little holders really nicely and really easily. So that is the G box. And again, there are two of them connected together. All right, E, F, G, H. So we're talking about some of the smaller boxes now. And if you have a particular product that you are wanting to know what will it fit in, let Katie know. Just type in question in all caps, and she'll answer that for you or get it to me. So the basic box H is 3 by 8, and really this is a good one because it shows all of the different sizes all configured together. So you really get a sense there of what's going to fit where, especially like this with mini inks. And then one of the things I kind of discovered today as I was getting ready was that you can actually stack some of the boxes into other boxes. I said that and then I put that away. Let's see, is there a better one? No, this is the best one. Okay, so I'm going to take this apart real quick. Like I'm always saying, you can just take it apart. So this is F, and this is G. So if I'm storing these on a shelf, especially like this, where I have some room to go up, right? Now I could store them this way and really still have real easy access to those different types of inks, right? Pull out just what I want or pull them both out. So you don't necessarily have to keep them all clipped together. That's one of the nice things about this is kind of figuring out what kind of space do I have? How long, how wide, how tall, and what is going to work best in that space. So really simple, easy. And then again, I'm just going to put those all back together with my creative connector here. I'm going to just, if you haven't used the creative connector, I guess I should go over so you can kind of see how that works. So super easy. You put your clips, which are, as you're seeing, 100% reusable right into the back of it. And then you just clip it down. And again, this is a little heavier. There's a few more. You can actually see in the back how many clips you have. And there it'll hold 8 clips. And we have the colored clips as well, which I love. Put my label on the front. But there's my whole, like, literally drawer of mini ink. And it's just so easy to move around. All right. So I kind of showed you like a bunch of the 1.5s. I mean, there's so many ways. I don't like when I was taking pictures today. Oh, this is the G2. So these are very common size for spices. So if you're looking for a way to slide your spices in and out of a deep cabinet, and or you don't have a shelf right now over the top because you have to reach in and pull those spices out, you add a label to the front, whether you go alphabetically or list all the different spices. Then you can put a shelf right on top, give yourself some more space, and be able to just slide that in and out. So that is the G box that's going to hold those really nicely. Oh, and then L, I haven't talked about. This is L. L's the Mac Daddy. Look how big it is. I don't even know if that's a good word. This is an old word, came from high school, I guess. But this is 15 inches long. So it works great on open shelving, but it is designed to go the depth of your IKEA cube, right? So if I was trying to fill this space all the way to the back, the L is the box that goes all the way to the back. 3 L's will fit across the shelf in your cube style storage. All right. And then here's just one more of the 1.5. Sorry, I know I said I was done with them, but so this is all embossing stuff, right? I've got embossing powders. I like them upside down so I can see what color they are. I do need to reclip this because I just pulled it out of there. There's no clips right there. But I've got the tool. And this is 2 F's and 2 K's together. And the thing about this is it's bigger than my shelf. It's deeper than my shelf. But it doesn't matter because it supports itself as I put it in there. So I've kind of gained this little extra space here sticking off the end. So if that doesn't bother you to, have that little part sticking off, you can kind of use your basic boxes to extend out. Okay, 1.5. 3 inches we've talked about a lot. So let's move on and talk about 4 inches, which are launching today. And they are really designed for, they're just a little bit taller. So this is the, no, I wrote the name on it, did I not? This is the B box. So the B box holds 6x6 and 5x7. So there's a 3-inch box that will hold 6x6 and 5x7. It's just not quite tall enough for 6x6. So if you're looking for 6x6, I want you to really think about your craft cart, right? So if you have a craft cart, you might want to go a 4-inch tall box in the back, a 3-inch tall box in the front, 5x7, then 6x6, really kind of create that stair step into your craft cart visually so that you can see things in 2 sizes. And these boxes are going to work great for that. So the B box is going to hold your 6x6 and your 5x7. Now, you can get really heavy with paper crafting supplies. So like this box, Stamps of Life paper pads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 paper pads in the 6x6 box. And then, of course, I've used our flip-flap pockets to go so I could keep the scraps with the paper pads that they match. But this is going to be too heavy to clip together and pull off a shelf. You could clip it together and that would pull the back one to the edge of the shelf, but the weight of that is going to be too heavy. I mean, you put your hand under it. It's not that you can't do it, but you just need to know that it's just, this is 2 pounds of paper or whatever it is. So when it drops, clip's probably not going to hold it together. You have to put your hand under it to do that. So 6x6, 5x7 are going to fit in the B box. This is the A box. So I have in here stamps, 49 to, and we're going to talk about cataloging in another show, 49 to 84, right? It's labeled there, and there they are. This also is going to work, though, with your 9x6 pockets, or if you have slimline or old 9x4 pockets, or you're trying to store slimline, the A box is going to work great for that as well. So let's see if I have one here. Yeah, 9x6 pockets. So you can see, right, the different heights coming up and how neat and tidy and easy it would be to find each of those things in a craft cart or on a shelf, right? So even if you put them this way on the shelf versus long way, so I'm maximizing out that space a long way deep all the way into the back of the shelf and still have the easy access by pulling it out. But if you would rather look at it this way, you know, really low, medium, tall, you get that great visual there. And these are all the A box. So slimline, smaller, you know, like I've got doubled up here on these smaller little stamp sets, right? So they're more like this size. That's what you're storing. And then again, they're all just numbered and they work with the catalog. Okay, so that's A. We talked about A. We talked about B. We're going to talk about C. C is going to hold your 4x6. So again, embossing folders are 4x6 pockets. You're organizing photos. You're storing things like project life cards, the 4x6 stamps. All of those are going to work great in the 4x6 boxes. Again, connected in the middle with 2 clips there, really easy peasy on and off the shelf. So the C is for 4x6. The D, which is one of my favorites. The D box, look at this. So this is what I love about the D box. You know me, I love everything vertical. I love to be able to just grab whatever it is, and I love to be able to drop it back in, right? So this the D boxes are awesome for things like these brushes. And again, if I was going to use this on my workspace and I wanted, instead of it being chunky and rectangular, if I wanted to put it long ways, right? Or if I wanted to run it up the side of my workspace, or if I want to put it in a corner of my workspace, that is the true beauty of basic boxes, because, well, I might store it in this configuration. If I want to use it this way or this way, I can do that. So it makes it really simple to reconfigure, store it that way, but when you're using it, how are you going to use it? And then you can just pop it back together before you put it on the shelf, right? So literally, I took, I get kind of crazy with the Creative Connector. I just love using it. It's just so much fun. So I'm going to pop those back in there that I just took off. Again, you can get 8 in one. And then I had probably some more connectors in here than I needed. These brushes are actually very light, and I'm using one in the front to hold my label. But how easy is that to just move those things around? And if you think about it, that could be cosmetic brushes or makeup, mascaras, eye pencils, eyeliner in your drawer. You really can configure those things out to be exactly what you want them to be or need them to be, right? So colored pencils, again, right? Everything is visible. Everything's accessible. I can keep it in this configuration, or I can move it into that around the corner, along the back, whatever I want to do. Super simple and super easy. This is the D box. So there's 2 boxes that I use much more than I thought I would have, the D and the P. In fact, I got over 100, I think 150 boxes, all the different sizes, and I'm out of D and P. I need to reorder both of those. They just seem to fit into everything really well. You said, like when I did the Kirsten, right? So that's the D box in there, creating that divider inside the Kirsten bag with the A boxes. So when you're looking at those things, I would figure that you're going to use extra of these. They all, like in a desk drawer, scissors, pencils, anything that's kind of long and cylindrical is going to go in there. I think, let's see, I'm going to bring up this other. This is another drawer in the kitchen that is what it looked like when I opened it. I was not going to organize it. It's right. It's 2 drawers down from my silverware drawer. I was not going to work with it, but when I slid it open, I was like, ugh, I've got to do something about this. And then I put, so those are the 4-inch boxes, 3-inch boxes, and 1.5-inch boxes sort of all combined together to really tidy up that drawer. And I did do a video about it, so I'll get that out so you get a little more detail on it. But there's a couple things to remember. The boxes connect to each other based on height. So 4-inch boxes connect to 4-inch boxes, 3s to 3s, 1.5s to 1.5s, right? Obviously, that makes sense, right? You got to clip them together. But that doesn't mean you can't mix and match them in to different places, right? So in this picture, I have connected some of the, I'm clicking on the wrong thing here. Let's see. I have connected some of the 3-inch boxes together so that they stay where they're supposed to stay. And then I connected the 4-inch boxes the other way, and everything holds each other into place. And there's some 1.5s in that drawer as well. So in terms of what you're going to be able to sort, store, organize, contain in the boxes, you can mix and match them. Just know that if you need to clip them together, you got to clip like sizes together. All right, Katie, do you have any questions for me yet? Okay, how many boxes come in a pack? Well, there's no easy answer there. There is the 1.5 bundle that comes with the Creative Connector. And that is 7 boxes, 1 of each size, and the Creative Connector. That's the one that also fits inside the number 2 Creative Case. The individual boxes, small boxes, come in 5s with the exception of L, the big one, and that one only comes in 3s. Because it's 15 inches long, I don't think it's going to be quite as useful, but really the reason it comes in 3s is because if you're using cube storage anywhere, in your closet, in your living room, in your office, in your craft room, 3 of the 15s make 1 shelf or 1 width of this. So if you wanted to fill a shelf, you would only need to buy 1 and be done. But if you want to fill 2 shelves, you could do 2 of the L. So in the small boxes, 5 of each, except in the L, and it's all pretty clear on the website. Also on the shopping list, I think it says what they come with. And then in the A through A, B, C, D, E, those come in 3. And then so those are the 4-inch ones. And then the 3-inch also come in 3s. So it's a little bit, kind of back and forth on that. So you just have to look at the shopping list. But these come in 5s because when we introduced the first set of them, it was obvious. Okay, the other thing, if you haven't been watching, that I want to remind you of is when you get them. So even me, like I know this product really, really well, but I can never remember, especially with the smaller ones, which one is which. So as soon as I take them out of the package, like before I even fold them together, let's see, I use a silver Sharpie and I write the letter. The light in here is wrong, but that says G. It's probably backwards. I write the letter on the bottom. Now, some of you are saying, oh, no, you don't always write it. I saw you use your label maker on that as well, which I have done. That was my original plan, to use my label maker on all of them. But apparently, I have 2 different kinds of label stickers. One of them works great. So this one has a label sticker on it, and all the labels have stuck. And the other one, whatever the tape is, the adhesive on the tape doesn't stick to them. So I have 2 pieces of advice for you on that. One, just write it. It's faster and it's easier. I use a silver Sharpie, so it's less obvious. But if it doesn't bother you to see what you've written, just a black Sharpie is going to be fine. I write on the bottom. You could easily write on the inside. Here's my other tip for you, though. Do not, when you're writing, so we have H-I-J-K. So this is H. Where is my I box here? Somewhere in here, I have a box that's an I, J. Okay, this is the thing that I did, and I wanted to share with all of you. I must have used it for something else. If you write a capital I on the bottom of your box, right? That's a capital I. But if I look at my box this way, now it is an H. You see that? So don't write a capital I and an H because you won't know which one is which. Use a lowercase I and a capital H, or lowercase on both, whichever. But yeah, I pull the I and the... No, I don't have one. I must have used them all up somewhere. Yeah, I pull the I and the H all the time, and I get things confused. So there's my other little pro tip for you. Okay. Did I answer the question, Katie? All right. Do we have any other questions? So the make sure that you're commenting, because it is Katie's gonna choose 2 winners tonight because it's a launch day. So and we do have a special code, and it's launch, LAUNCH 15. And so any of the 1.5s or the 4-inch basic boxes or the 1.5s, all the stuff we're releasing today, you can use that launch code, LAUNCH 15, to get 15% off your products for launch day. So you don't want to miss out on that. All right. Any other questions for Katie? Okay. So for the calyx drawers, she said wide, but calyx is only one size. So there's only got to be one. So I did a whole thing with the calyx drawers. Here's the thing about them. They need the shorter boxes because they are not very deep. And if you put too much depth in there, and I did do a little video about it, I will get it out. But the 3-inch boxes or the 1.5s are good in the calyx. And I think actually, like I did 9 of these. Did I do 9 or 12? Probably 12. Like I literally filled a drawer with, this is the J box, with flowers. And then I actually, I think I have a picture too. Where is that? There might even be a couple of pictures. There's a couple of blog posts I put up today about the templates and just about the basic boxes. So there's a couple pictures in there. I will get some more up as quickly as I can. They do fit nicely in there, but if you see the picture with, I don't know, maybe Katie, you can, let's see, do I have it on this computer? Well, I don't want to look for it while I'm here, but I put the boxes in a U shape and left a hole in the middle. So I had all the embossing stuff went around in a U shape, and then the hole in the middle fit my heat gun. So really, that's really one of the, okay, can you share it, or can you, what do we do? How can we do it? Can I bring you on? Okay. Katie's going to put a picture. She's going to put the picture I'm talking about, or the link, I guess, is what she's putting there, so you can see it. But one of the really great things about this product is the connecting part of it, like being able to connect things and create space without using a box. That's really kind of one of the coolest features of it. The straight up and down sides, so you're not losing any space, is amazing. The fact that you can connect them together in whatever shape you want is also amazing. It sounds a little vain, right? Because it's my product, but it's so useful. And the fact that they come apart and go back together so easily. I mean, you think about your life and what you have today versus what you had 5 years ago, or even 5 minutes ago, right? In terms of needing a place to put it as things change. So right now I have long hair. It's not for me. It's a lot of work. For those who've been around a while, you know, this is probably the longest hair I've ever had in my life. But I have all these hair things now. So they're all organized in this drawer, but I'm getting ready to do a big chop, I think. And then what am I going to do with all those hair things? I'm not going to need them anymore. But that doesn't mean the boxes, I don't need the boxes anymore, or I can't use them somewhere else, right? It's so easy to reconfigure them and reuse them. Just pull the clips off, save the clips, save the boxes, and then you can use them anywhere, which is really, I mean, like literally, really kind of the most amazing thing for me is that idea. Now, I did have somebody else ask me again about the basic, the 4-inch boxes in the #1 Create-A-Case. So depending on what you're storing and how you're storing, you can use the 4-inch basic boxes in the #1 Create-A-Case in all different types of configurations. So You know, some, I actually think maybe the question was kind of along the lines of soft craft and maybe even organizing your, now that I'm looking at this, your fat quarters, right? So fat quarters, if you were trying to store those some way that you wanted to zip them up and keep them kind of clean and tidy, right? This is the E-box that has the fat quarters in it. So put in some E-boxes, and then maybe you want to keep something long on the side. Maybe we're going to put some kind of needles or something in there. But then the little guys, these are the greatest guys. So these are the small ones. The P and the D, I'm telling you, they have become just my favorite guys there. And then, you know, just working in whatever, I guess this could go this way, right? But so the 4-inch boxes are going to work great for if you need to store, organize things inside of your number one. And you might not need them everywhere, right? If you were storing fat quarters on one side of this and maybe fabric flats on the other side, and you just wanted to keep these nice and neat and then pile the fabric, and on this side you can do that as well. So you don't necessarily need to fill the bag with the 4-inch boxes, but all of them do fit in the 4-inch height, fit in there. All right. Any other questions, my friend Katie? Do the boxes have protective covering that peels off? They do not. You just have to fold them together and snap them. They just snap together really easily. You can see the little tabs there, right? The little tabs just insert into slots. I will tell you, I did run into one where the tab wouldn't go into the slot. And all I did was take my box cutter, but you know, if you have a, what do we call it? X-Acto knife. And it was actually not even, the whole thing it just wasn't cut through. I just put my X-Acto knife in there and it popped right through and just finished the cut. So if you do run into one that has that, don't worry. You can just grab your X-Acto knife and just give it a little pop through there, and then you'll be good to go. All right. Anything else? Will a 12-inch doll like a Barbie doll fit into the G box? I think so. Interesting. Yes. So the G box is 2 by 12. So I would think the widest part on that on a Barbie is going to be 2 inches. So she would probably, fit in there with no problem. Interesting. You know what else? I don't know. You're probably already thinking this. If maybe you're a Barbie collector, but if you have a daughter or granddaughter who loves Barbies, using the, I don't think I have one set up right now with these, but using these, be a great Barbie like case, like put your dolls in the G's, put their clothes in the other ones, and then you could transport them around in the number 2 create a case, right? So it builds out to be 12 by 12, but you could do that with these and that would work perfect. I don't know if that's what you're thinking, but I love that idea. And if you are thinking that and you do it, please, please, please send some pictures, which takes me back to something I started to pull out and didn't finish. So hold that thought, Katie. But toy storage is great in these as well, like small toy storage. So this is obviously Legos, building block things, right? So that's great for that. But even things like, right, card games, little cars, little kind of toys. But this, for me, we're a card playing family. So we have tons of these kinds of games that are boxed up like this. And they just kind of were stacked up in the game closet. And when you pull the bottom one out, everything else tips over. Well, now I can just put them all into these kind of boxes, pull it out, pull out what I need, push it back. Everything is not tipping over. So it's a really great organizer for things like, your game closet or that anywhere that things kind of just need to be a little bit more tidied up. You're going to love the basic boxes for that. All right. Oh, here's another. Like this is right. All cake decorating things I rarely use, So I can slide this to the back of the shelf and not worry about it. And then when I need it, everything's together in one place. So it's another good thought in your head, like how can I combine and conquer stuff I'm using and stuff I don't really use, but I need to pull it all out at the same time. The basic boxes are a great solution for that. All right, Katie, anything else? No, I'm going to hang on. Hold that thought. If you haven't made a comment, you can't win. So make sure that you make a comment, tell us where you're from, ask a question, whatever you want, but get your name in the feed. Okay, go ahead, Katie. Will the box for fat quarters fit in the wine bottle insert? No, it's too big. But if you want to run your fat quarters the other way, right? So I have them this way in there, but if you tip them this way, so they're skinnier, then, and only then, let's see, this is the A. So you could go, now that's going to give you a little too much wasted space, the A. Well, but you could do it. So if you go this way in the A box, no, they're too tall that way too. Okay, but stop the presses. If you go in the M box, which is the 3-inch tall box, then you can put them this way in the 3-inch tall box, and then no, they'll fit. You could cram them in there. I wouldn't recommend it. But what I would recommend is using the shelves. If you want to divide up your IKEA shelf, if you leave this shelf out and this middle shelf out, then they're going to fit in the 3-inch box in that. But other than that, nay, I have to say on that. But you can, but that brings up a great point, right? How are you orientating things, right? How do you want them to fit? What space do you have to fill? And here's another example of that. So when you're thinking about how you're going to store these things, don't necessarily, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to put them this way. Just think, what if I turned it this way, right? So in here, right, I've got these bottles, right? I want them to fit in this space. So they are laying down inside the F, okay? And now they fit in this space. Same bottles, I want to fit in this space. They're standing up in the G box. So if you're kind of struggling with something won't fit, can you turn it the other way? Stand it up, lay it down, rotate it onto its side. Will it still work for the product and give you the storage that you need in the place that you need it to go? So a great question to bring that to mind, that, yeah, you might be doing. And the same thing I was talking about, the flowers, right? So I want them flat on the shelf there, but if I wanted to put them, oh, I got that on there. I could, they're lightweight. The boxes are durable enough. If I wanted to fill this space better, it says what colors flowers I've got here, I can just put them on top of each other there. So really sort of think about that too. Is it lightweight? Can it stack together? How is it going to inhibit my access to that item, right? Because what you don't want to do is pile up things and then make it hard to get to them. But flowers, all the same thing, super lightweight, easy to pull out, easy to use. Wherever you're going to put them, whatever shape, it's going to work fine and still have that accessibility and that visibility. All right, Katie, what's up next? What would work for spices? Is there a way to stack these in a kitchen cupboard? I wouldn't necessarily say stack. I mean, you can depend, like obviously I just did it with the flowers. The flowers are very lightweight. It's a contained space. So if you had a contained space, right? Like sometimes like I have one cabinet next to my sink that's only about, I don't know, that's a good idea for that cabinet actually, because it's very narrow. So I could stack things a little bit easier in there because the sides of the cabinet are going to help me keep things the way they are. But anytime you're stacking things, you're making it difficult to get to the thing under the top thing. So I don't usually recommend it, right? It has to be something very simple like these guys, very easy. They're all the same thing. The odds are I'm going to pull them all out at the same time anyway. The mini inks I stacked up, same thing, mini inks and mini inks, probably going to use them or look for them all the same time. So that makes that easy. I think it's more valuable or a better use of space if you were using them for spices, right? So like this shape, if you can put another shelf on top so that you're not wasting any space in between, right? So if your next shelf is up here and you've got these in a slider, well, you're not really maximizing anything that way, right? But if you can lower that shelf so you've got less space, now when you pull those out, you've got access to them. And on the next shelf up, you could put another tray of spices or whatever and be able to pull that out. So adding that shelf above, like just like here, right? I can't reach into this box and get what I need. I have to pull it out like a drawer to get to it. But it keeps me from having the space that you need that's required to reach in with your hand and then have enough space that if you're pulling something tall out, you can actually pull it out as well. So think more along those lines. Can I lower my shelves and maximize that as a slide versus stacking things on top? Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer. All right, Katie, what else have you got? Will the VersaFine ink pads fit in the Chassity? No, but they will definitely fit in the Stephanie bag. So if you're using VersaFine, I would go Stephanie over Chassity for sure. Let's see, I probably have Stephanie right here. I could probably, oh, I don't have Stephanie. Where are you? All right, do you have another question though? Yes, are the creative connectors easy to take off? Yes, you just put it on like that and then pull it off like that. Super easy to take off. And they also work for things like this, right? So it doesn't have to be a plastic box. So these are all my templates. These are all the 4-inch tall templates. And I just used one of the connectors on there, right? So you can use it for other things as well, like maybe this, obviously, kind of like a paper clip thing. Or like a staple, I guess, right? But you're not putting any holes in it. But also if you're a crafter and you like to make greeting cards and you like to attach gift cards to a greeting card, you can use this to attach a gift card to a greeting card that you've made or anything like that. So they come in silver. When you get your creative connector, you're going to get 8 silver clips. You can buy additional silver clips, but we also have a box of bright colored clips. It's red, it's pink, yellow, green, orange, and blue clips that are just a little bit more fun if you're doing something crafty with them. All right, what else you got, Katie? Oh, someone is reminding Katie to remind me to like, comment, and share the video. That's probably our good friend Barb Carlson, who's such a supporter of our channel. So thank you, Barb, thank you, whoever. But if that was you, Barb, thank you. It was Ruth. Ruth, thank you. Okay, so here's my other thing. I have this folding template for my fat quarters. And I am wondering, I'm going to try it. If I put that folding template in there, can I secure my fat quarter? Ooh, I can. So if you are someone who is folding things and wants them to be connected, now let's see if I can pull the folding template out and leave the clip on. Oh yeah, right. So if you want to keep things kind of like this, you just have to put something heavy, hard in the middle, so we'll have some resistance, pull the middle thing out, and then you can clip something like this together if you needed to do that. And again, you're not doing any damage to the fabric, right? And you just pull it off and reuse it. And even if you don't have a fancy plastic folding template like I do, you could just use this, what I used to use, kind of a piece of heavy chipboard would do the same thing. So if you're looking to fold things and then clip them together, so this is just a fat quarter. It's not a huge amount of fabric, but it would flip together nicely for you. All right. Other questions, comments? What do you put your creative connector and clips in to store them? So I use the Perfect Pouch. I have 2 of them. This is my silver one, right? So I keep my silver one loaded usually, but I don't usually keep the colored one loaded. I just keep the clips in the bag with the empty connector because I tend to want to be more matchy, right? Green clips, blue clips. So, and I don't want to, like right now I have pink in there. So if I wanted to clip something blue, I'd have to eject it. Not that that's a big deal, and reload with blue. So I have 2. I use the Perfect Pouch. This is the pen pouch. I hang it off one of the hooks on my craft card. Some of you have seen that illustration. There's a picture maybe on this product on the website. You also, the clips do come in a little plastic box, and they fit, if you have both colors of clips and 2 connectors, they do fit in the Creative Case number 6, the Tiny Traveler. You can carry both boxes of clips and a couple of connectors in the number 6 Tiny Traveler. And you can also, I pre-make a bunch of labels. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. So that when I'm ready to label something, I don't have to cut the labels either. So I have those also hanging on my cart, right? So this is the Perfect Pouch ID pouch. So some of you have already seen this, but I have the colors pre-cut, and I have the white pieces pre-cut, and I have a little cheat note here on this blue one that says what color goes where, and the opposite side of the blue one tells me, reminds me when I have to recut what the sizes are, so that I don't have to remeasure or guess or whatever. And then this size tells me what color I used where for those, if you have OCD about color coding things and that sort of thing. And then this one, I just kind of dolled up. It was just kind of having fun with it, right? Use a little bling on there, kind of sparkle that up a little bit. But so all the pieces, again, if you have your paper trimmer out and you are cutting, it's out, you know the dimensions, cut yourself a bunch of labels. And just like for me, they're here. This is the ID pouch. It's the perfect size to fit, you know, all these labels, even the smaller ones fit in there. Same size label, horizontal and vertical. So this is a 3-inch box. This is a 4-inch box. I use the same size label. I just turn it one way or the other. So really easy. And then in the Perfect Pouch ID pouch, and these just hang on the outside of my craft cart. So I also wanted to talk about these boxes because somebody wrote into Barb and said my box won't close. If you're having trouble with the box, there's a little lip under here that connects down, and when you pull out on the box to close it, it doesn't connect. So just put the box in your hand and push down from the top, or you can have it on the tabletop and just push down from the top, and you'll hear that little pop, and then your box will stay closed. So if you're pulling out on the tab, though, when you close it to try and close it, when you pull out on that tab, the latch misses and it's not going to lock down. So is the easy way to do it. All right, Katie, what else? How thick can you go with the Creative Connector? I would think that you could probably get about, I have some super thick Stephanie Bernard Stamps of Life, high quality cardstock. And I'm going to see here, I bet you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 sheets. If you're familiar with Stephanie's product, these are very thick, very nice cardstock. So you can go at least 10 and probably more. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Let's try and hook it all. Let's try and do this whole. No, it's going to be too much. This is the most fun for me, right? You guys, those of you who watch all the time, you know, like the best thing is just for me to get to try. That's too much, but let's try. So maybe 2, 3, 4. I mean, 10's probably answers your question. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, oh yeah, 15. You might actually even be able to go 2 more. I'm looking, there's a little bit of a gap there, but so that's going to be maybe almost 40 sheets of paper. I think it is 40 sheets of regular paper. So yeah, it'll clip quite a bit together. And the beauty of it is, when you pull that, it's not like a staple, right? If you need to rearrange your papers, or if you're doing, you know, if you're doing some kind of work thing, you can pull them apart, reorganize it, and then clip it back together. No staples, no mess, none of that stuff. So really easy. All right. Any other questions, Katie King? Must have for sewing supplies. You know, I think that probably I don't sew. I'll be straight up with you about that. My mother sews. I think that the G size box is a good solution for thread storage, especially if you put it in a drawer, right? So you could organize by color, and maybe if you had to stack, you could also stack them on top. The nice thing about using something like this over using like one of the things with the little spindles on it is if you buy a color that needs to go in between colors you already have, if you have a little spindle thing, you have to move every single thread on that rack to put that in. But with something like this, you can just slide it in where it belongs. So I think that for thread storage, depending on the size of thread that you use, so these are a little longer, right? So this is the I box, and these are the G boxes. That works. You could also stand it up, but you know me, I like everything. I like to be able to see things, grab it at one time. So you get a big full color visual there. I think in terms of sewing tools, that you might really like the 1.5-inch boxes for sewing tools as well. Small things like seam rippers and turners, or what it's called. It's not called a turner, but if you sew, you know what I'm talking about. Things that turn sleeves inside out, those things. All the little quilting hooks and quilting clips and stitch counters and all of those kind of things, I think are just kind of a natural fit for this, especially if you're working in a drawer or you're going to keep it in that number 2 created case. I think the 1.5s are going to be really great for that storage. So I would say probably along those lines. But I don't sew. So if I'm all wet about that, or you think you have no idea what you're talking about, that'll never work, please let me know so I don't keep telling people that. But yeah, I don't. My mother sews. She uses lots of these. The basic boxes are her. She does all kinds of crafts. Some of you have met my mom. Not only is she an author, she writes amazing books, but she also does all kinds of crafting. And she has this kind of totally Tiffany, the organized options stuff everywhere on to organize all that. So she does use it across all her crafting. All right, Katie, what else? You have 100+ quick quotes. Okay, so you are going to get 36 of them if you want to put them in a bag like this, in this bag. And then I don't think we make a bag that's going to hold, I mean, this is going to be too big. But know that the P containers here are a perfect size for the quick quotes. So if you are using them at home, I mean, you probably don't need to take all 100 colors if you're going to travel with them anyway, but I mean, you can get 6 per thing here. So if connecting them together, you could go with, what do I have? That's 6, 12, 18 would get you over 100. And if you just clip them together, they can go anywhere, right? You could clip them by color like this way and then put them on a shelf like this is all reds and pinks, all clipped together this way. You could clip them long ways this way, all of them, and pull out all 100 at the same time. So I think if you go with the P box, it's going to fit in a lot of places. And if you have the lowest tote, our old lowest tote, I bet you could line the bottom of it with P boxes and probably get, well, let's see how big this is. Probably gets, 6, 6, 6. Yeah, probably get all of them in the bottom of a lowest tote. And then you could put something on top and then pull that out and have this as your bottom spread. But I think if you're working at home, you're going to love the P box for just connecting them this way, pulling them off a shelf or putting them in a drawer. Maybe if you have the IKEA Calyx, this kind of shelf, right, being able to fill that space. This is the P box also. It's loaded with buttons, but a couple P boxes. But you're going to love these for quick quotes for sure. I don't know about a bag for them, but you are going to love them for quick quotes. All right. What else you got, Katie? Oh, I think they're 2.5 by 3.5, the colored. Let me just consult my little reference card in here. The colored, the outside piece is 3.5 by 2.5, or 2.5 by 3.5. The inside piece is 3 by 2. So, and it seems to work on most things. Now, you have piqued my interest here about how many of these you could put in here. Maybe you could get, you might, if you want all of those in a bag, all of your quick quotes inks in a bag, you could get 4 times 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 24 of these in the #1 Create a Case, which is more than you need for your quick quotes inks, but would also then allow you space for something else. So you could do those in there. So and then you could put something else, something bigger in there that would maybe hold other tools or other supplies. All right, Katie, what do we got? What sizes are the boxes in the cube unit behind another wine rack? So this is the 1.5. Okay, those are 1.5s all connected together. These are 3 inches. The 4 inches, these are 3. These are 3s also. You can get a 4 in the wine rack, but it's right up to the top. But these are 3s. You could also put 4s in there. Now this, remember, when I did this, there's supposed to be one more shelf in here. So this configuration that when you see it at IKEA, there's one more shelf here. I took that shelf out so that I could put taller things in there and really kind of max out that cube. Kind of what I was talking about with the spices, right? How can you fill the space top to bottom and still have sort of that drawer function for being able to pull things in and out? So these are both the 1.5 inches. But I could easily have left this shelf out again and put in a 3-inch box here. But you can put 4s in there as well. But 3s fit best in here. In full disclosure for IKEA, these are not all the same size. They all fit wine bottles, but they are not all the same width because some of them have, like this middle one, right? You can put the 3-inch in there. It's a tight squeeze. because these have this little felt pad on them and it makes them just a little bit wider. So yeah, they all fit wine bottles, but you can put the 3-inch ones in there, but they're just a kind of a tight squeeze up this, well, at least for sure this one. The other ones kind of all have a little felt. So, all right, what's next? Do we have a zipper bag that the long creative memories cutting tools will fit in? She's thinking they are 15 inches long. So probably the only bag that we make right now that's 15 inches long is going to be the #1 Create a Case. So you can see like this, right? So I've got cutting mats and paper trimmers and stuff in there. Now I could, that's all that's in there, but I could put some of our smaller bags in here as well if you wanted to kind of anchor that space. But so this would be the only one, but you would probably want to put other bags in, maybe with other accessories that go with that tool, because that is 18 inches long, that bag. All right, next. The 2 letters I like for the tall boxes are the P, which is the 3-inch, and the D, which is the 4-inch high. You know, when I design these, I go, oh, this is going to be the thing people need the least of, right? But literally, I have used them, well, everywhere. And they're great fillers, right? So I think, you know, if you want to segment off your boxes and create other divisions, this is going to fit in the 4. The D is going to fit in the 4. And you just use your creative connector, anchor that in there, right? So then you've created these dividers, which, you know me, if you followed along, kind of sticks up a little bit, but now you've got 3 compartments. I am a vertical girl. I want to be able to not dig to the bottom of a stack. So if I can separate things and keep them upright, that's always what I'm going to do. So the D in the 4 inches, for 4 inches, and the P for 3 inches are my faves. And there's the P if you wanted to use it there. But you can also, I think I showed this, I also secured it just in the corner and used it for things because I had longer things that I wanted to go here and smaller things that I wanted to go here. So you don't necessarily have to divide this way. You could divide it, you know, into a corner, into the middle, depending on what you're trying to organize around it. So again, what I was thinking about, what I was talking about before, those spice jars, lay them down, stand them up, turn them on their side, same thing. What are you trying to store? How can you keep it vertical and make it easy to access? Are these going to help with dividers? Can you turn it on its side? All those things. All right, Katie, what's next? Are we going to get something like the Ditto organizer soon? Not soon. Excuse me. It is on the drawing board. Soon, though, I'm not sure about soon, but I am working on some pretty cool things that are going to be more of that kind of organization. So yeah, there's stuff on the drawing board, but it's not soon. Sorry. It's hard for me to say that, right? I just want to be able to do everything, but I know it's not going to happen quickly. Okay, anything else? Do the connectors work on the old Totally Tiffany containers? Yes, they do. They are great for, like, if you have Slide Stash and Store and you want to connect those together. So those of you who know, okay, so also found out, side note, side trip here. If you are looking for Slide Stash and Store, which I have been asked about, scrapbook.com has them, all the sizes, and they are on clearance sale. They have all the old Totally Tiffany stuff, and they want to get rid of it for the new 2 stuff. So the old TT stuff that you might be looking for is on, I don't know if they call it clearance, but it's heavily reduced right now. In Slide Stash and Store, they have all of them. And if you are unfamiliar with Slide Stash and Store, I don't know if you can still find reference to it in the wild internet, but they are amazing for so many things. And my favorite use for Slide Stash and Store is in the freezer. And so I didn't think about that, but if you connect them, so I have some space between mine, but which I could connect them together and create a different space. So yes, you can use it. And so if you're thinking, what is she doing with those in her freezer? They're these long, narrow boxes. They're 12 inches, 13 inches deep. So I have a drawer freezer. It wasn't even me who came up with this. It was a customer, and she has a standing freezer, right? So she put them in her freezer with her like pizzas and frozen stuff, food stuff, like box stuff, vertically instead of stacking them. And then she could just pull that box out, grab what she wants, and slide it back in. And everything else doesn't spill over. And I thought, oh, that's awesome, but that won't work because I have the drawer. But it does work because my drawer is deep enough and tall enough. And so I have like all of my veggies on the top, all organized, but they're vertical. So I'm not digging down like the cheese drawer. I think I showed you guys pictures. I put the 10-inch long in my cheese drawer because I buy bags of Tillamook cheese shredded and then slices. And they were just a pile in the drawer. And now I put these boxes in, and now it's a file of cheese in the cheese drawer in my freezer, in my refrigerator. And here's another bonus to that. My husband, God love him, he oftentimes does not zip the cheese bag closed. And so when he puts it in the drawer, then sometimes I find the cheese wandering freely in the drawer, the little cheese shreds. But if he drops it into the file of cheese, the cheese drops out of the bag and into the little box, and I don't have to take everything out of the drawer to clean just that one little box, dump it out, put it back. It's very simple. All right. Whew. Okay, Katie, what else, my friend? Are we going to have the stamp storage pocket 7 by 5.6? I think the flip-flap tab, okay, flip-flap tab divider pocket in 5 by 7 is that size, right? 7.5 by 6. Handling, let me pull my washi tape off here. I have my thing here. So yes, these, well, they're just shy of 7.5 and 7.5, little shy of 7.5 by 5.5. That is the 5 by 7 pocket. And if you don't want to use the flap on it, you do not have to. You can trim it and tuck it in the back, or you can fold it around the back. But the nice thing about the flap is if your pockets spill over, your goodies stay inside. And then so there's this one, which is called the 5 by 7, even though it's bigger than the 5 by 7. And then there we go up from there. So the 9 by 6, if you have a bigger things, or you're looking at maybe storing, I have a big stamp set in here. It doesn't look like it. Now you have this. So I just did a blog post about this. I haven't turned it on yet, though. If you are storing your dies, the nice thing about the flip-flap pocket is you do not have to use a magnet with every set of dies, right? So your dies are not going to get bent or damaged in a pocket. It's hard to bend or damage dies, but it doesn't matter that they're not on the magnet. This one's not on a magnet. It's just on the sticky stuff. If you have lots of dies, sure, like this kit has a lot of dies, little small dies, sure, use the magnet. But if you want to lighten your load, cut your magnet into strips, put your little pieces on that, put your bigger dies in there, and you don't have to worry about them. Even if you have an open pocket like we used to make, and it goes over, everything's coming out, and the odds are those dies are going to hit the floor and come off the magnet anyway. But if you're using flip-flaps, you don't have to worry about that. Very nice. All right, so what else we got, Katie? All right. Okay, so here's the question, and this is a great one to wrap up on. So the question is, she says, these are all great ideas, but how do you get started? Where do you start? And for those of you who have been around me a long time, you know one of the reasons that the Get Organized Challenge came into being was this question, because it is the most difficult thing about organizing is looking at something that's overwhelming and just kind of giving up on it, right? Like there's just too much here. Literally your brain gets overwhelmed and you kind of shut down. There's a lot of reasons for that. Okay, we've got a lot of information here. When we do the home organization challenge, I really address this. I wrote a whole book about it that will be out before the challenge starts. But this is the biggest problem with organizing is how do I start? When do I start? Where do I start? Once you start asking all those questions, your mind is beset with decision fatigue, and it becomes very, very difficult to move forward. So one of the greatest things about these things that Stephanie Bernard created for us, and they're free. I'm just going to download them off the website, print them, and cut them out. And if you're sort of overwhelmed with where to start, pick one thing, one drawer, one shelf, one tiny space. And so maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm going to organize all of my, if you're crafty, all my glitter glue, or I'm going to organize the my junk drawer in the kitchen, right? Or my silverware drawer. Silverware drawer is a really good one to start with because you have the thing that organizes your silver. That's kind of a set thing. And then you've got all the space around it. So print these, choose one thing, one drawer. If you're using your silverware drawer, it's shallower. So you're only going to be able to work with the 1.5 inch deep things for most people. I mean, it's rare for a silverware drawer to be more than about 2.5 inches deep. If you have a really deep one, you could go deeper. But one thing, print these, print the shopping list, right? Katie put up some links to the shopping list. It's on our website too. That gives you a place to write down how many of each thing you need. Print these, print a couple of copies, like I said. And then as you lay them out, so even if you leave your silverware tray in, right? So when you saw the pictures of my silverware drawer, I kept the OXO silverware tray that I have. It's not perfect, but it's the best one I found until I design my own, which is coming. And then I had this space around it. So then I could take these and place them in that space, put things on top of them and figure out how that was going to work. Oh, if you don't like that, take that out, put something else in. And then and then take a picture of these in that drawer or in that space so that you remember what configuration worked. Now, I wish that I had thought about that when I was doing it, because I put everything in and kind of figured it around. And then I took everything out and then I moved it around. I did all the things. And I was like, okay, I liked that other thing better. How did that work? So use your phone, use your camera, take a picture of it, order what you need, do that one drawer. Do that one drawer. Maybe it's your cosmetic drawer, silverware drawer, something small. Do one space, right? And you will, and it just takes one. And once you do the one, then it's easy to do the next one. And there's a lot of things that happens in your brain. You're going to have to buy my book, I guess, and read up. But there's a lot of things that happen in your brain when you're going through this process. And just recognizing that. I mean, things that you don't even think about, like decision fatigue. Would you ever think that making a decision about how to organize your silverware drawer is going to cause you some sort of decision fatigue? You don't really think about that, right? But once you start thinking about it, it's easy to recognize that you are fatigued and that it's not a good time to make decisions and you need to do something else and kind of get your brain clear. I mean, there's so many things that happen that are not just putting boxes in and filling them up in a good order. So that's my advice. Download the printables, cut them up, and do more than one set. I promise you, you're going to use, like I did, right, multiples of each one. And so they're free to download. You print as many as you want, cut them, and so you have them. Because that's the other thing, when you start doing it, if you don't have enough of the templates, then you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to move this one over here. I'll put that one over there. But then when you go to take your picture of the finished thing so that you can order it, or when they come, you can put it back the way you wanted it. You won't have all of the things. So do that. Okay. All right, Kate. I think that's got all the questions. If you have a question that I didn't answer, that we missed in the feed, please send it to barb@theorganizedoption.com, barb@theorganizedoption.com, and she will get it to me, and then I will answer it for you, either just in a response email or on Tuesday night if it's a question that next Tuesday, if it's a question that I think a lot of other people have. But we are here to help you get organized. So if you have questions, please email Barb. Sometimes it takes a day or two, depending on what's happening in the world, but I will get back to you, or she will get back to you on my behalf, one way or the other. If she can't answer you, she'll send it to me and we'll take care of you. All right, Katie, who's our winners? We have 2 winners. Two. No, it's not. So on Facebook, Katie said, promise you, it's Teresa Banks. Congratulations, Teresa Banks. That's my sister. So, so if it's another Teresa Banks, not my sister, congratulations. But I suspect that might be Tisa. So congratulations, Tisa. All right, and who else have you got? On YouTube, it's Karen Day 7504. We don't know really who you are, Karen Day, but you are a winner. And so are you, Teresa Banks. So if you will email Barb at theorganizedoption.com, Barb at theorganizedoption.com, and tell her you're the winner. And she might get like, what? I don't think I told her we were doing 2 winners tonight. But you could say, I'm one of the 2 winners. And then she will, yeah. I'm sure she'll believe you, but I might get an email on that one too. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Remember your coupon code LAUNCH, LAUNCH 15, good for the 4-inch boxes, the 1.5-inch boxes, and the Chassity bag. All those new things that we're launching tonight. Yeah, all the goodies. So thanks again for joining me. I will see you next week, and I'm excited. Please post up on Facebook. If you're posting anything with our stuff, if you use the hashtag organized with 2, TOO, all lowercase, no spaces or anything. Katie keeps an eye on social media. We really want to share your ideas. We want to show people how you're using our product and what's working for you, especially if it's something different than we've talked about. That'll be amazing. So please, whenever you post, hashtag organized with 2. We would love to see what you're up to. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.